What's up, guys? The Snowman here talking some French Open today. It's my women's singles Roland Garros draw preview. Please take a look at my men's preview as well if you're interested, but very excited to break down this women's draw. We're going to go over some of the biggest and most tantalizing first round matchups, see how the big favorites draws shook out, and make some predictions. Taking a look at the first quarter of the women's singles draw, it's a mostly healthy field. Not too many marquee names will be absent besides Paula Badosa and a few others. Of course, the majors over the last couple of years, especially Roland Garros, runs through the world number one, Iga Swiatek, who's now had the top spot in the rankings for 60 consecutive weeks. Not as jaw-dropping a season this year as 2022, when she was on a 37-match win streak around this time. Swiatek does excel the most on clay, the French Open champ from 2020 and last year. It's interesting how the WTA landscape has shifted over the past 12 months. Not so much Iga versus the field anymore, but more so a new big three with Rybakina and Sabalenka, who we'll talk about in a bit. For Iga, health is the vital factor. This year she's had both a rib and a thigh issue. Not too serious, but she's still by far the favorite in Paris if everything is in good shape health-wise. First round match against Kristina Buxa. My eyes immediately went to the first round clash of number 18 Vika Azarenka versus Bianca Andreescu. Two major champs who've never met, have had some euphoric highs the last few years, but also some cavernous lows both on and off the court. Two players with big fan bases. I hope Andreescu is up for the test after that nasty ankle injury in Miami. Number 13 Barbara Krejcikova, the 2021 French Open winner, among the favorites, as is number 11 Veronika Kudermetova. And at the bottom, number 6 Coco Gauff comes into this tournament off the backs of an uninspiring clay season. She hasn't won more than one match at an event since Indian Wells. Did begin the year 8-0, but about 500 since then. Of course, Coco did make the French Open final last year, so she's defending a lot of points, definitely capable of making a deep run. I'm sure Gauff isn't too thrilled about a potential rematch versus Iga in the quarterfinals. That's assuming Coco can get through her first two rounds, and perhaps number 25 Kalinina, who recently surged her way to the Rome final in fine form. A lot of clay court experience in this section. The favorite in quarter number 2 is the 4 seed Elena Rybakina, last year's Wimbledon champion, proving that she can have great results on all surfaces. Made the Aussie Open final, came within a match of achieving the Sunshine Double, won Indian Wells, but then fell in the Miami final to Petra Kvitova. Rybakina's big serving and baseline power has translated well to the clay too. She just won Rome last week, did get some help when Swiatek retired in the quarters, but Rybakina is leading the tour in aces again this year, holding serve at a top 5 rate, a 19-2 record in 1,000 level tournaments. Most impressively to me, she's winning more 3-set matches, outlasting opponents in longer games, showing more consistency than before, so she's definitely a contender. Plays a qualifier in round 1. The closest seed to Rybakina is number 32 Shelby Rogers, who's below 500 all-time on clay. I think Petra Martic could knock the American off there. More seeds in this section: number 23 Alexandrova, 14 Haddad Maia, the 10 seed Kvitova. Petra would be my pick to make the quarterfinals. She played some sizzling tennis to win Miami out of nowhere, and she has a surprisingly good record at Roland Garros. Everyone thinks of Kvitova and pictures the 2 Wimbledon trophies, all of her success on hard court, but she's made a couple of French Open semis. I think it's more about if she's in a groove and wakes up on the right side of the bed, she can make a run. Number 22 Donna Vekic has been making great progress after being out for a while. And at the bottom, number 7 Ons Jabeur hasn't played a ton this year, did pull out of Madrid with a calf injury, but when healthy, she's certainly one of the most creative players on tour. Already won the 500 level clay event in Charleston in April, but Jabeur yet to make a quarterfinal in Paris. Rybakina the safest pick in section number 2. Then we move on to the third quarter, and it could get very chaotic very quickly. The 3 seed Jess Pegula, probably the quietest of the top 4 seeds in terms of the buzz around her chances at the French Open. She's at the bottom, no singles titles this season, but she's constantly making quarters or semis week after week, playing a lot of doubles to hone her skills as well, teaming up with Coco Gauff for that. Pegula, one of the best returners again this year, second in terms of break percentage, very steady ground strokes, great rally tolerance, early exit in Rome last week, second round loss to Taylor Townsend, and it's a daunting first couple of rounds for Pegula. She drew Danielle Collins first, and then either Cornet or Georgie, all three players with massive experience and Grand Slam savvy. Up top, you have the 8 seed Maria Sakkari, number 12 Belinda Bencic under the radar, but top 5 in the singles race this season. Number 21 Magda Linette versus Leylah Fernandez is an intriguing first rounder. We've got some former French Open finalists in Sara Errani and Pavlyuchenkova in this section, but I gotta say, I think the quarter has been tailor-made for a deep run by the 24 seed Anastasia Potapova. She's my dark horse pick for this tournament. Potapova, like Pegula, one of the best breakers of serve on tour, consistently in the top 5 for break percentage. She played Pegula really tight in Indian Wells and Miami. Clay, definitely Potapova's best surface. I just think the combo of a weaker section mixed with timing and opportunity, it feels like the right time for someone like her to break through in a big way. Very little success at the majors so far for Potapova, but I like how her game has progressed this year. She doesn't mind playing long rallies. She'd be my pick in what could end up being a topsy-turvy, wide open, and wacky third section. Pulling up the last of the 4 quarters, the 2 seed Aryna Sabalenka at the very bottom of your screen. It's amazing what winning a first career major can do for your confidence. Sometimes we see it's difficult for players to consolidate first-time major success. Players like Ostapenko, Kenin, Andreescu, Raducanu, but Sabalenka has been brilliant in 2023 after winning the Aussie Open, won her second title at Madrid, so playing really well on clay. She's currently number 1 in terms of points accumulated this season, hitting the ball with a lot of ferocity off both wings, has both defeated and lost to Swiatek and Rybakina in finals this season, so it really is becoming a big 3 like I mentioned. These players are meeting frequently in huge finals, and they provide us with well-balanced contests. A nightmare first-round draw for Sabalenka, though. Marta Kostyuk, not who you want to see. Someone who can match her in terms of physicality, someone who won't be intimidated, and admittedly Kostyuk, a Ukrainian who's been playing with some extra determination against Russians and Belarusians the last year or so. A really strong draw, though, especially the top half of this 4th section. The 5 seed is the 2022 WTA Finals winner Caroline Garcia. Excellent serving metrics this season, but just 3-5 in her last 8. Doesn't have the best history at her home slam, just one quarterfinal appearance 6 years ago. How about a warm welcome back for Elina Svitolina, one of the newest mothers on tour. Hasn't played a major since the 2022 Australian Open, but she's back after her pregnancy. Some major threats looming in number 17 Ostapenko and number 9 Kasatkina. I'm hoping for that third round matchup. Ostapenko leads the head-to-head 5-2. They just met in Rome with the Latvian reigning victorious. Again, Sabalenka v. Kostyuk worries me. I wouldn't be shocked to see someone unseeded come out of this section as well. It's truly all to play for in Paris. Swiatek's still the safest pick overall to win the whole thing, but I'm ready for all the action the next 2 weeks at the French Open. Thanks a lot for watching my women's Roland Garros preview. Again, please take a look at my men's preview as well, but just thanks a lot. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and hope to see you soon. More weekly videos on the way. Cheers!